Hello guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel, and for today's video, I'm going to make the chapter 2 summary and the overview. So I've already made the chapter 2 summary. So now I will just give the overview or the important terms or key terms here in the chapter 2 in the NetAcad. So without further ado, let's get started discussing some topics and key terms here in the chapter 2. So the Cisco iOS. So in the Cisco iOS, or the operating system, which it will the PC or the OS allows the user to interact with the computer, and also the user will be interaction in PC OS are often done via my mouse or keyboard and the monitor, of course. And the Cisco iOS is also an operating system, which the Cisco iOS allows the user to interact with the Cisco devices, which for example, to use a keyboard to run the CLI based network programs, use a keyboard to enter the text and the text based commands and the view or the output of the monitors. So all of the Cisco networking devices come with the default iOS, so it is possible to upgrade the iOS version to or feature set. So but make sure that it is compatible to the version or to the capacity of your device. So next thing that we're going to discuss is the Cisco iOS access. So in the Cisco iOS access, there are methods, which is the console, the auxiliar, the virtual terminal, or which also knows the telnet or the SSH, and the terminal emulation programs, which the PuTTY or the PUTTY, the Teraterm, and the secure CRT. So those are the Cisco iOS access. So the next thing that we're going to discuss here is the to on how to navigate the iOS. So in the Cisco iOS mode of operation, there are initial configuration that must be done via console connection. So configuration is then done via various CLI commands modes. So for example is the primary command modes, which is the user exec mode and the privilege exec mode. So next is the configuration command modes. In the configuration command modes, the configure terminal commands enter global configuration mode. So there are also the sub configuration modes, which are accessible from the privilege exec mode. For example is the switch config line or the switch config dash if. So those are the sample commands which has the sub configuration modes. Next is the navigate between iOS modes. So in navigating between iOS modes, navigation between modes is also done via commands. It also enable the commands to enter the privilege mode and the exec mode. And lastly, the exit commands exit to the parent command mode. So those are the important points that will be discussed in the navigating the iOS. Next is the command structure. So basically, in the command structure, basic iOS command structure, the general syntax for command is the command followed by any appropriate keywords and arguments. Keywords, for example, is a specific parameter defined in an operating system. So an argument is not predefined, but a value or variable defined by the user. And the iOS command syntax, which provides the pattern or the format that must be used when entering the command that you like, and the iOS help features. So here the iOS help features is very important, especially when you are starting to learn on navigating the iOS or the CLI. So it is has the two form of help available, which is the context sensitive help and the command syntax check. So the hotkeys and shortcuts is also important because it lessen your time when you are working in the workstation, and the command and the keywords can be shortened to the minimum number of characters that identify a unique selection. So we have also the line editing keyboard shortcuts. The command that we are using there is Control A, are also supported. So we are done in the command structures. Next is the host names. So of course, it is the device names, which the host names allows the device to be identified by a network administrator over a network or the internet. So it is very important, and it should not also be displayed in the topology. So configure host names. So also we have the proper format or the proper structure of a host name. So an iOS host name should be start with a letter. So and it should not have any spaces, and it will end with a letter or a digit. So user only letters or digit or dashes. So it can be less than 64 characters in length. So not will beyond that. So that is all about the host names. Next is to limit access to device configuration. So in limiting the access to device configuration, we have to secure the device's access. So in order to do that, we have the secure privilege exec and user exec access with a password. So to secure virtual terminals lines with a password. So we have to configure a password. So we must use a strong password and try to avoid reusing passwords that you are already used. So we should encrypt passwords, and the Cisco iOS displays a passwords in plain text by default, and the password should be encrypted. So we have also the banner messages. So the important part of the legal process is the event that something is prosecuted or for breaking into a devices. So it serves as a warning or a note. So that is the purpose of the banner messages. So we are done in the limiting access to the device configurations. Next is the configuration devices, or the save configurations. So in saving a configuration, saving the running configuration file will be stored in the NVRAM that contains all of the commands that will be used upon the startup or a reboot. So the NVRAM does not lose its content when the device is powered off. So thankfully, or that the NVRAM works that way. So altering the running configurations, the file stored in the RAM that reflects the current configuration, modifying effects or the operations of the device immediately, and capture configuration to a text file. So configuration file can also be saved and archived to the text document, and configuration can be edited with any text editor you want. So next is the post and address. Of course, the IP address. So each end devices need to be configured with an IP address. which it is enabled to enable the establishment on the end-to-end communication on the internet. So the structure of the IPv4 address is called it is called the dotted decimal notation, and is represented by 4 decimal between 0 to 22255. Next is the configure IP addressing. So to manually IP address configuration for end devices, configure an IPv4 address on the window host. Next is to open the control panel, then click to network sharing center, and then change the adapter settings, and you will see there, and you will choose the adapter. So next, right click and select the properties to be able to display the local area network connections properties shown. So automatic IP address configurations for end devices. So the automatic IP address configuration is the DCPH, which is enabled. So it automatically assigns an IPv4 addresses configurations for every end devices that has the DHCP enabled. The extra configuration is needed. So next is the switch virtual interface configuration, which to be configure an SVI on a switch used in the interface VLAN 1, and a global configuration command. So the VLAN 1 is not an actual physical interface but a virtual one. And lastly, to verifying the connectivity. So in verifying the connectivity, interface addressing verification, which the Cisco iOS supports the command to allow IP verifications end-to-end connectivity test. And the lastly is the ping command, and which can be used to test connectivity to the another devices on the network or website on the internet. So basically, that is all for the chapter 2 in the NetApad. So I've discussed to you the overview and the important terms or key terms that must be reminded here. So if you like this video, and I hope you learned something, please leave a like and share to my video and support my channel. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.